Hello everyone, I am here with the wonderful Darren Nesbitt, founder of The Light Paper and also musician extraordinaire, creator of like the anthem for the freedom movement that we've all been singing on all of the marches for, since ever this started. Yeah, so we're having a little chat tonight. We haven't actually met before, although we've been on the protests and stuff at the same time, I'd imagine. Yeah, so how's it all going? How's the song like moving up the charts, or what's going on?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's been number one on Amazon for 3 days. It's climbing up the iTunes charts now. It came in at 33, I think, which is really funny. And then when it kind of back down, now it's back up to 17 on it. It's in the top 20 now on the iTunes chart. So it sounds like it's picking up pace. Everybody's really supporting. It's amazing to see everybody, really sharing it and trying to get it out there. We've sent out a load of stickers as well for people to put in busy town centre parts. They're all going out, or a lot of them have gone out over the last few days, because the big thing is from Friday, so the 17th to the 23rd. So from Friday to next Friday to Thursday is when obviously the Christmas chart counts. At the end of the day, I mean, people might buy this record for years and years, and that's fine. And obviously it'll always help fund more light papers or other creative ideas that we come up with to help wake the public up and we'll at least give them a clue as to what's going on. But it'll make a story, you know what I mean? If it gets to Christmas number one, I mean, we're beating Ed Sheeran, we're beating on Amazon at least, we're beating Coldplay, we're beating all the big boys, and we've put in it's gonna be about £2,000 in total worth of for the whole record, really, you know what I mean? Because we ended up getting it. It was recorded for free. Because as you may or may not know, the managers of the studio actually stopped the session because of the lyrical content.
Yeah.
Censored from the studio. And then when we wanted to put it out, I've had this distributor for 15 years, and they're in Switzerland. And I thought, well, I don't want to go through the rigmarole and what have you. So I actually went, are we okay with this song? And they went, no, we won't take it because of medical misinformation. Because obviously everybody consults pop songs when they put something wrong, something ill with them. It's the first place you go to your record collection. Yeah. And so yeah, it's all worked out very, very nicely. Like I say, I'm just a busker at the end of the day. I mean, I know obviously the last few years we've created, let's say the light paper and various other things as well. We're doing our part. But it's showing the power of creative community. Nobody has to get involved. There's no obligation. Nobody's counting on all the rest of it. But it's something good that we all get together and do, like stand in the park, like Rebels on Roundabouts, like holding the line, like going to a great big protest in London on the 18th, like the light paper, and anything else. I mean, it's not an exclusive club. And I didn't ask permission for anybody else. You know what I mean? Nobody not many people knew who I was a couple of years ago, and not that I care. But I didn't ask for anybody. I didn't ask for Piers Corbyn's permission or Save Our Rights or Stand Up X or any of the guys that that were organising. They're all great. They're all nice people, and I get on with all of them. But I'm doing my own thing, and it's not. It's not I'm on my own. It's like it's a collective creative community, and that's when the whole way the light works, and obviously the band and everything else that's happening, and we should carry on doing that. I like taking part in other people's great projects, but at the same time, if nobody gave a toss, you know what I mean? Fair enough, it might not be the best idea, whatever, but I also wouldn't care, you know what I'm saying? So it's not it's not at the end of the day, the goal is freedom. The goal is preservation of freedom. The goal is so that everybody gets to carry on choosing how their lives have been. And I mean, it occurred to me basically that what's going to happen is one day, and not for us, we're going to watch it happen, but for the masses, one day they're going to be free. Yeah, they're going to be able to go on holiday and travel anywhere they like and go anywhere in the country. They have to show the COVID passes and keep getting these booster shots, and then all of a sudden they're now geofenced. All of a sudden their electric car yeah, and their social credit score will not allow them to leave the smart city because of climate change. We've got to keep the CO2 down for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And if you're good enough, then we'll allow you to go to the Highlands of Scotland, you know, outside of the city for 4 days. You've earned those credits. People can't see what's coming, and we're here to let them know. It's not what's happening now, and that's what I think all activists and truthers should be focused on. Yeah, okay, yeah, of course we need to. I mean, we've got, you know, I do a newspaper, so we're going to reflect what's, you know, what the news is for that's more not the news, but the censored news, should we say, the censored information, all the doctors and scientific reports that come out that are completely buried by the mainstream media. So yeah, so thinking long term, well, not even thinking long term, but realizing what the end goal is, and then seeing that the solutions are really quite simple. Keep using cash, de-digitize, go natural, decorporatize. Yeah. Now we're all guilty of, you know, I'm speaking to you on the laptop done by, you know, the Wi-Fi Virgin Media and done, you know, whatever. I mean, you know, whilst we still can, yeah, if one wants to stop us, once I need a social credit ID and blah 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 to say I pledge allegiance to whoever the hell it is, you know, or I'm going to get booster shots all the time, and then you can't go on the internet. Then I'm going to go on the internet. I'm going to use whatever, you know, whatever means we can. But here's the beauty of what we've been doing over the last couple of years is that we've been building our local network. So almost every activist knows that they can go to a park every week, every weekend, every Sunday, what have you, and see local, no matter what lockdown, what the rules are. Yeah, those standing in the parks will be 10 times bigger anyway. But and so with every other meeting. Say, God, people are doing everything. They're doing food cooperatives. They're doing, people are getting together. You know, obviously we're doing gigs and events and what have you, and those are going to continue, whatever Boris and potato.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I started a stand in the park in the UK right in the middle of the lockdown. So we stood all the way through, and we had police coming. We had, you know, I wouldn't say harassment, but, you know, well, some stands experienced it, you know.
Yeah, we saw it.
Intimidate, but we were like, no. That was what the stands were about, as well as obviously getting together, building the community. And we've seen how it's all organically grown. All these people coming together, and you've seen it yourself in what you've been doing, and it's just growing and growing. And I think the more they push us, the more people are actually coming together. It's like this push pull the whole time. I was going to ask you, did you watch the speech, Boris's announcements earlier? I couldn't. I'm terrible. I know I should be like right on top of this, but I literally cannot stomach listening to these people. I just get so enraged, so I always end up looking stuff up after. I can read about it, but actually listening, I just want to put my fist through the screen. So I just wondered if I've heard a few little snippets, but I wonder what your take on kind of, I mean,
was it today or you mean?
Yeah, it was this evening. It was at 5.
Have they done some more? Yeah, I'll just wait for the news to filter through, because at the end of the day, I know it's not going to directly affect me immediately. I mean, it's just part of the plan, part of the totalitarian tiptoe. Just get, you know, monkey say monkey, not Simon says, etc., etc. You know what I mean? It's all behavioral psychology, behavioral manipulation. So therefore, we don't need to listen to it. If they tell the sheep that they've got to wear a mask, or they should wear a mask, or they should, they should get the booster, or they need a vaccine pass to get into a football match, or whatever, then it's up to them whether they go along with it, because I'm not fucking going along with it. I mean, it doesn't make any difference to me either. You know, I mean, I stopped going to football a long time ago. I stopped going to, you know, all these things a long time ago, because I understand it's all part of the system, it's all part of mind control. However, it doesn't mean I don't want to go and see live music. It doesn't mean I don't want to go to the pub or a restaurant or what have you. But if I can only go to friends' houses to eat meals, and if I can only go to friendly pubs up and down the country that are you know, that I've got truth music, I don't want to listen to truth music at the end of the day. Which brings me on nicely to just so I remember, we've got a big truth. It's a one-day music festival in St Helens. So if you're in the northwest, on Sunday, the 19th of December. So it's the day after the big protest. Starting at 2 o'clock. It's at the Rainford Junction pub in St Helens. We have got 7 or 8 acts. We've got Tom Prowse, we've got Alice Calari, we've got Tommy Coyle, we've got Lucas Lane coming, the rapper, we've got Phil Zimmerman, the comedian, Steve the poet, we've got and we've got a couple of DJs as well, and the Daz band are going to be playing with the full band as well. It's 20 quid on the door, so if you're in the Northwest, come down there. It's going to be mental. I don't really need to advertise it as such, just to let people know that there's a live scene going on, and there's also a live, you know, there's a burgeoning truth music scene, I suppose. And I want to hear it all. I want to hear rap, and I want to hear dance, and I want to hear, you know, acoustic songwriters, and I want to hear bands, and I want to hear the whole lot of it. So the more the merrier, and people are coming out all the time. You know, obviously as the movement grows, it's gonna, you know, we've got a culture, and it's gonna create musicians, it's gonna create artists, it's gonna create all kinds of all these things that happen. You know what I mean? When people are, because when you wake up, it's not just about the political reality or the financial reality or what have you. Well, it's about, it's a, for me, in the end, as you can probably tell, it's a real liberation, especially creatively. You know, because the truth should be liberating. So as an artist who wants to express themselves, and there's just an immense, I mean, you know, the deception and everything else, but there's just an immense amount of material there for any kind of creative expression. So use it, you know, use it and bring it to the table. And if you're, you know, you just woken up, or you just, you know, you're a fledgling artist or whatever, work at it, because the other lie that they've told you is that you're not that you're not special, or you're not talented, or you're not got great potential. And we have, as long as you work at it, because the point is that if you believe that you're not, then you don't work at it, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know. So there you go.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's kind of, I think with that sort of pressure, it brings the creativity out of people, doesn't it? Kind of out of necessity, in whichever way. So whether you're artistic or more practical, and, you know, it's all creative, but it kind of creates that environment where you have to, because you're not kind of just, you know, everything comfortable and easy. It takes that kind of being prodded to get you going, doesn't it? Quite often.
Yeah. Hard times make good men.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It just, whenever it's adversity, isn't it? Adversity seems to.
Adversity creates top art. Adversity creates great art.
Yeah. It just seems to be the way it is. Yeah. Well,
it certainly seems to be the way with what's the next Christmas #1. We are the 99%, of course.
Yeah. It's just so hang on. I wanted to clarify again. So it's important that people are buying from Friday to it's like sort of gap up until Christmas Eve.
Buy it now, we'll buy it again on Friday.
Okay, just buy it.
The charts. I mean, it's amazing. I've spoken to so many people recently. I have no idea how the charts work, or even if there was a chart. Whatever. I was like, I was the same about 3 weeks ago. We had to go, you know, read up and figure it out, and whatever. Whether we figured it out or not, I don't know. Because any band or musician will tell you, in the old days with vinyl or even CDs, it used to be certain shops. It'd be certain big shops that would obviously be your chart ones, because they wouldn't obviously they won't poll every single chart. Now, obviously, with digital, it's a hell of a lot easier. So what we tell people is, look, Amazon and iTunes have got they must be, you know, chart return shops, as they used to be called. So, you know, and a download is worth 100 or even 150 streams. So by all means, stream it if you like, you know, if you use those services, but please make sure you do download it, and obviously share it and let people know that it is out, and that we are currently, I can say, in Amazon, we're beating Ed Sheeran and Elton John, we're beating Coldplay, we're beating Adele, we're beating Shakin' Stevens and Mariah Carey, it's all the old Christmas. It's all the old Christmas classics. Hang on, I'll get it up here. Slade, we've got Slade's just come in at #3. Mandy Fisher, McFly were beaten, and there's a couple of Elton John ones. We're beating a lot of them. It's great.
It really
Only
is.
on Amazon, unfortunately.
Well, what can you do? But what I mean, it's just a big, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
think that's why people like it.
It's things like that that show actually the real public mood, because obviously, I keep going on and on about optics and how things look really bad because it seems like it's all steamrolling ahead. My God, nothing we do is making any difference. They're doing it anyway. And it's like, they have to. It doesn't matter how much resistance there is, because this is a long term agenda. They can't stop. So they're not going to just put the brakes on because of public opinion. I mean, we've seen with that DMB poll that was removed off Twitter as soon as I mean, honestly, it just couldn't be more transparent, could it? Oh, we don't like that. That's a bit too truthful, 89% against mandated jabs. Let's get that down quick. And that is the public feeling. No matter the number of people that have gone along, so many now are just saying, whoa, hang on, this is going in a direction now that I didn't sign up for this.
It shows you the importance of standing up and show it and speaking your truth. And you don't have to be loud about it. I mean, if you can be funny about it, brilliant, but you can be quiet about it, what have you, but just absolutely resisting complying in public, not complying in public. Let people see you not complying. They can all wear masks. One or two of them will want to take it off. You know what I mean? So be it's the old one: be in the light, be the change, etc., etc. Because you just need to give people permission, really. Give people permission to rebel and not go along with it. And there's one more person there. Courage is infectious. So be courageous. Tell people that you're not going along with it. Show people that you're not going along with it, and they too will have the courage to not go along with it. And it does catch, and that's how we win. It's that simple. We don't need a massive political movement. We don't need a massive army. Those two things would be great if they exist. You know what I mean? But whatever. But we don't need them. We just need everybody to not comply, and that is exactly as you just said. Optics. I call it perception. I call it the war of perception, the war of information. If everybody, it doesn't even need everybody. If 10%, even or 20% of people see the reality of the world as we all see it, then they will absolutely change their lives in the way that we're all changing our lives. You'll stop using the corporations. You will definitely not comply with masks and lockdown and all the rest of it. And you become an activist is worth 100 sleepers or 100 sheep, whatever you want to call them, activists, because we can't shut the fuck up. The truth, it's addictive. The truth is addictive.
Yeah, and once that's it. There's no going back. You can't.
There's no red pill.
Even if you wanted to, you just can't. You've had it. That's it. But yeah,
this is another reason why we'll win. That's another reason why we'll win, because nobody goes back to sleep. It's impossible to go back to sleep. Anybody that ever tells you, oh yeah, I looked at all the new world, or I saw 9/11 and blah 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 blah, but it's this, that, and the other, and they're not really an awake activist. They've never been awake.
No,
lots of people know the government are corrupt. Lots of people know corporations are greedy and what have you. They do dodgy things and what have you. But not nobody, but all those people can't. I mean, it's still too psychologically frightening for them, because it was for us when we woke up. You go through all the emotions, you go, bloody hell, you know what I mean? It looks like there really is a devil running the world, for God's sake, you know what I mean? And all the rest. You go through the whole lot, but you've gone through it because the truth was more important than how you felt. The truth is more important than your feelings, you know what I mean? And you've had that all your life, probably, you know what I mean? As children, we were always asking questions and never got the answers. So it's also a relief when you get those answers, and it's joyous. And I seem to have carried that through even to today. The truth still buzzes me, more than any drug ever has.
Isn't it? So you've obviously been awake, whatever you want to call it, for a long time. Was there something that kind of triggered you, or was it just like you knew something was off, you know, from a young age, or seems to be different for everyone.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, almost there's no two stories the same. There's some similar ones, a lot with 9/11, but 9/11 didn't do it for me. You know, I mean, I knew it was wrong. There was no connection between that and then Iraq and Saddam Hussein, and they were obviously going to war on the pretext, but I didn't realize the pretext had been completely staged, and there wasn't even any planes and what have you. It's obviously just a demolition. It's a play for TV and all the rest of it. People obviously did get injured and killed, so I don't think, you know, what have you. But it's like that's you do it with COVID. They go, you deny COVID. My grandma died from it. I mean, so anything you say is invalid. And it's like, no, we're not denying that people get ill and die.
Yeah.
You know, we, to be honest with you, we're still not sure exactly how that happens. You know, in terms of illness and you know what have you, not in terms of how he died. But the point is that we like to question, and I'll question till my very last day, I would imagine. And we thirst for knowledge, we thirst for truth, and I suppose you've either got it or you haven't, but it can be woken up in people. And although I was obviously a rebel all my life and asking questions, and you know, always asking the big deep questions, where we come from, what happens after you die, what's the whole purpose of us being here. Yeah. It was 8 years ago, and my friend said to me, do you know the Bank of England is a private corporation with shareholders who earn profits? I was like, really? And at the time, the internet was still pretty open, so you could go searching, and pretty soon I'm down into the rabbit hole of 9/11 and, you know, false flags and blah blah blah, David Icke box and everything else. And what, you know, at the other end, 8 years later, really it's a case of always weighing it up. You know what I mean? It's weird. I'm really skeptical. I'm really skeptical about everything now, wherever it comes from, whatever the source. I think people are slightly disappointed sometimes because they kind of expect me to be more excited about everything that's going on, but quite clearly there are a lot of red herrings. You know, there is a lot of stuff that people put their energy into, and we don't need to be doing it, and people will end up getting hurt as well. And one of those is the common law thing. Right. There's nothing wrong with knowing the law. There's nothing wrong with fighting them. But I think people should know that what we're engaged in is civil disobedience. They've just passed the law last night. Involves all sorts, you know, or legislation, whatever you want to say. But basically, the apparatus, well, you can say what you like, but although it's an immoral law, the apparatus of the state will put that into action. So all the civil servants and the police and the jail and the prisons and the judges and the courts and everything else, you know, as far as they're concerned, we've got a democratically elected government. Those representatives did the people's will and screwed us over. But so what we're engaged in is civil disobedience. You know, we're absolutely, like I say, you know, there's nothing wrong with knowing the law. There's nothing wrong with using the, you know, the natural ancient law, if you like. The common law is the case law. Common law is the law that's common to all courts across the realm. Otherwise, you know, you'd have a strange system. But there's no real remedy, and I certainly wouldn't start picking fights, you know, new fights with them. At the end of the day, they are passing laws that are immoral, unjust, and should be disobeyed. They should be civilly disobeyed, morally disobeyed. If you can, best thing to do is, you know, be self-employed, own your business, what have you. Be self-employed and don't send them a penny. Absolutely. But I wouldn't pick a fight with them, and I wouldn't, you know, I lost my mortgage believing some of this stuff back in the early days. Because it, you know, it became clear that yes, a mortgage is fraudulent, and yes, they don't actually give you money as such. It's created by your signature, blah blah blah. The entire system is corrupt. But guess what? The system will protect itself. So it's a big waste of time and energy. And what they want is for you to be poor. You know, is to have no resources, is to screw yourself over and give them an excuse to take your stuff with their laws. So don't do it. It's my advice. Don't do it. Well, like I say, just be skeptical about everything, because the bottom line is you know the system is there, it's strong, but it's corrupt. So why would we be able to knock it over with, you know, this law or that law or this approach or that approach and what have you? I just think there's a lot of, and that I mean, I'm just picking it out just because it's on my mind at the moment. But there's a lot of things like that, you know, like aliens are going to come to save us, or the white hats, or a lot of people believed in Trump for a while, and even 3 months after he'd lost the election, people were saying, no, he's going to pull a rabbit out the hat and he's going to be president in the next week. And just deal with the reality as it is, because number one, there's enough to deal with as it is, just in their terms of their plans, the digitization, everything, the technocracy, the technology we can see them bringing in. There's enough to deal with that. And the second the second thing is it focuses the mind on the here and now, on what we can deal with as well. You know,
I mean, it's about really being empowered, isn't it? Stepping into your own power, knowing that there is no authority over you. I guess with the common law thing, for some people who really, really know their stuff, and they're a very particular kind of person quite often, then they seem to get results. But it's I mean, in the end, it's more natural law, isn't it, that we need to be focusing on, where you are embodying that knowledge, and it's an energetic thing that is beamed out of you that people will pick up on totally unconsciously, maybe, like police, authority figures, whatever, and they will just swerve you, not knowing why. But it's almost like a force field, isn't it? Because you are absolutely rooted in fearlessness, and so there's no way in. There's no way you can be dominated over.
Holding yourself in truth and integrity will give you confidence. You know, if you don't have to lie, or deceive or be somebody else or pretend, you know, because the corporate world's like that. You can't be yourself, otherwise you'll get screwed over. I mean, you know, but holding yourself in integrity and truth and honor, and then and standing that ground. So there's nothing wrong with natural. At the end of the day, the point is that they've got laws that allow them to come and take us away to gulags and forcefully inject us and all the rest of it. Now, you know, the point is that we need to civilly disobey those laws, but they are laws. So that's it. It's not a case of, you know, all that stuff isn't, you know, what have you, you know. But I'd say to people, A, be careful, and B, just be skeptical, because once you've woken up and seen all the deceptions, it's like, wow, what else could be a deception? And also, what can we do about it? And there aren't that many mass solutions, which is great, because it's all, you know, you always say, if only we could get, you know, millions of people to do this. We just need 500,000 people to do this. So you just need you to do it. Yeah, you just need you to live the best life you can possibly live every day, and work hard at it every day on the things that you like, because the things that you like and things that you're drawn to, the things that you're good at, are the things that you're supposed to be doing. You know, don't try to avoid doing things that you don't like. I mean, we obviously all have to work and do service, and, you know, do take care of the housework and the children and all the rest of it. But you know, in terms of what you do, you know, for the movement, if you like, you know, because most people, well, not most people, but a lot of people change their lives so they can do as much as possible for the truth and wake people up and stop this happening. Obviously, because it's really, really important. At the end of the day, you got to keep your feet on the ground, stay level-headed, because we know what's coming. But if we don't, you know, just keep calm and focus on the job, you know what I mean? Well, I said, we'll it's not going to look attractive. We're all freaking out and, you know, crying with underpants on our head, set on fire, and all the rest of it, running around the skies falling. Let's be the light in the darkness. You know, they're all scared. They're all worried. They're all, you know, we're going to get, you know, restricted and, you know, whatever. Let's just live free, be happy, and let them come and take us away. Fine, but if there's enough of us, you know, we'll stand strong. The rich people have a sense of fairness. It's not that they're you know, just incredibly docile and sheep-like. It's that we'll have a deal. If the government say, look, we need to do this, we need to black out because the Germans are coming over, then no, okay, we'll black out. If there's a pandemic on, yeah, right, then and you all need to, you know, stay indoors and lock down, wear masks, and get these wonderful shots that we've done for it, then they'll go along with that up to a certain point. They can now see that the deal has been broken. That, hang on a minute, this is going to go on forever. I don't agree with segregation. I'm not that bothered. Look, the last 6 months, we've been free, and they've been mingling, and they haven't been ill. You know what I mean? The only time they thought they'd been ill is if they had a positive test. So I think for a lot of people, like you mentioned near the start, I think for a lot of people, the deal is broken and they won't be taking the boosters, which is why you're going to see them, really try and turn the screw. But I'm seeing from this side a big pushback within the NHS as well. So I'm just trying to give them a little bit of confidence to band it together, and there's a hell of a lot of them. You know what I mean? That's a huge story for the public. Again, a perception story. All these NHS workers, doctors, nurses, consultants, whatever, they don't want to take the experimental jab. What do they know? Are these people all conspiracy theorists? Can't be, can it? You know what I mean? That could be a big story. So all these things, everybody doing everything they can in every way they can, but don't do anything you don't want to do. I absolutely love editing the light paper. I love putting it together. And now we've got a team, brilliant team, Matt and Kath, who organise the distribution of it. I can focus on that. It's not such a...
It must be a huge job, the light paper. I mean, how did that all get started? Was it just literally you had the idea to get something out there? I mean, it's massive, isn't it? It's played such a huge, important role in getting information out there, and because it's presented so well, people will just they'll grab one, if you're handing them out in the street or whatever, because it's it's a respectable
it's definitely not socialist worker.
I mean, it must have, it will have woken up so many people, but I mean, yeah, how did it sort of come to be?
By a miracle. It really was, because I'm a busker by trade. There's no previous experience of publishing, editing, etc. Just lots of social media posts, and it kind of grew out doing leaflets. We did leaflets first. I think the first one we did was an A5 leaflet on the Coronavirus Act 2020. It was that 3-coloured one. We did 50,000, 100,000, whatever it was, and it kind of grew from there. I mocked up a front page. I asked people I asked people what you thought, what should we call it if we were going to do a newspaper, what should we call it if we were going to do it, would you help distribute it? And once those two things were in place, it was like, okay, let's put it out. So that was in September 2020, we got to put out the very first issue, which was 20,000 copies, and it was really, really well received. Obviously everybody really liked it, and they were amazed that we'd got it done. So was I. And like I say, Matt and Kath came along, Nikki came along to do the advertising, we had layout people, and then more writers. People wanted to contribute, and that's still going on today, because a lot of people still don't even know it exists, and they come across it a lot through Stand in the Park. But there are still a lot of truther activists out there who don't know that the light paper exists. So let's keep getting it out to as many people as possible. We're doing 250,000 a year, and we're on issue 16 at the moment. So it's really grown. It's 28 pages now as opposed to 12 when we started. But we want to go even more. I mean, I don't really know to be a 40 page necessarily, because that's I won't be able to do any music then. But we'd like to put it in 18 million homes every month.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, and obviously to get there, the only way we're going to do it is for more activists to get involved, to go to the website, thelightpaper.co.uk, and pre-order copies for next month, each month. I think it's 25 copies for a tenner, 50 copies for 15 quid, and 100 copies for 20 quid, something like that. And if you go to 50 quid, it's like 10p a copy for your 500 copies, etc. There's a small band, a small group, we do a club together. About half of those copies are pre-ordered now. Because obviously people understand, although the paper's free, it costs us to obviously produce it and get it out there. And so far, like you say, everybody's really, really taken to it. We're navigating the right line. We don't want to go too much into. I mean, we've had various different theories and what have you, but it's important to remember, although we all read it, it's important to remember that it's ultimately for people who are either fast asleep, but more likely a little bit curious, a little bit like, what's going on? Hang on a minute, this doesn't feel right. Like we all were just before we woke up, I suppose. You know, and beforehand you had David Icke books, and you had, you know, Alex Jones, and you had this, that, and the other. Well, now we've got just so much more as well. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, Vernon Coleman, they've got the UK column. Obviously, there's the light paper there, and the fact that it's offline is obviously, you know, it's obviously its biggest feature, its biggest selling point, or whatever you want to call it, because they can't stop it until they say nobody unofficial can print any kind of newspaper ever. Then, you know, we can keep on doing it, and they can't really stop us until, again, you know, if they say, right, no printers, or until we have a cashless currency, a cashless society, in which case they can obviously stop you spending credits on anything they want. So again, another really, really simple thing that every single person can do is use cash as often as possible, and simply because it keeps those facilities going. The guys that fill up the cash machines, and the people that make it, and the people that maintain the cash machines, and all the things that go along with it. Any business that you want to survive, or any system or service that you want to survive, use it. And anything that you don't want to survive, don't use it. Stop using McDonald's and Coca-Cola and, you know, Apple and all the rest of it. I don't have a spy phone. I've obviously got a laptop, but I don't want them tracking me everywhere I go. You know, so it's up. Here's the simplest thing, I suppose. I don't have to rely on anybody else. You can live the life that you want to live, obviously, but you can come out of the matrix as much as you want, and it doesn't matter whether anybody else does, you know, or not. I mean, at the end of the day, you can live your life anyway. But what we'll find is more and more people are choosing to do it without being coerced to do it. You know what I mean? We're choosing to do it, and it makes life simpler and cheaper. And it makes life more fun. It allows us to concentrate on the things that we really want to do.
Yeah, exactly. It does. I just wanted to say also that we're encouraging with us, like the Stand in the Park outreach program that we've got, the light papers there, and we've got your links and everything. We recommend that everyone has a batch. It's easy for a stand to chip in and get a load of copies, and it's, you know, because we're kind of taking it to the streets now outside of the Sundays, and just letting them know, people know we exist, giving out the information. Again, it's not like shouting, it's not, you know, big banners with terrifying stuff on. It's just
not a protest, it's just
just hello, here we are. If you've got questions, if you're feeling uncertain about what's going on, and so on and so forth, and the light fits in really well with all of that. So I encourage any stands for that outreach to be doing that. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying. You know, this situation we're in will be remedied by just the simple non-compliance. It always comes back to us just saying no, not going to do it. And if there are enough of us, and we do lead by example, like you were saying earlier, it is giving people permission. We've seen it. You go into a shop. I've had this experience. You know, I've never worn a mask ever. Never would. And you know, I've always gone about my business. And I was in the post office once, and this guy's mask, you know, he's puffing and panting, and he looked over at me. He's like, do we not have to wear these then? And I was like, no. And he just was like, oh, you know, and we just got chatting about, no, you're exempt. You've never had to wear them, you know. And it just his face kind of lit up. It was such a simple thing. And I know other people that, you know, when they've been doing the big maskless shops in Tesco's or wherever, you know, they've gone in en masse, and people have clocked them, and they're like, you know, because there are enough of them there for them to feel safe to do it. You know, it's still that herd mentality, but it's like, well, you know, if they're following our herds, then good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, the mask is nothing more than a sign of submission, a sign of, you know, the lack of the removal of free speech. We know it's absolutely not medical in the slightest. It really is, you know, it is exactly as it looks. It is completely psychological. So whilst I'd never, you know, I've argued the toss with somebody if they were determined to wear a mask, they can do. But, you know, on the other side, it's, you know, when people are curious, so they're asking, you know, leaning in or whatever's going on, it's like, you know, you don't have to wear that mask. You know, you know, you're exempt. Well, what do I say when I go in a shop? You simply say, what the hell's your medical history got to do with the security guard or the cashier or whatever? You know what I mean? I'm not going to discuss it with you. It's against the Equality Act to say, so if you don't need to go, just say I'm exempt, and nobody cares. Well, this time around, nobody cares. You know what I mean? I'm not, you know, we've not been challenged anywhere. I doubt very much. I mean, you know, again, I don't go to that many places, but you know, I was never challenged last time. I think it was
No, I
once or
wasn't.
twice.
A handful of times, 2 or 3 actually,
Yeah.
and in very kind of weak sort of, oh, would you like a mask or something?
No.
Got a sale pass going, no, carry on. You know, I've never had any real, you know, I think a lot of people, they don't want to be put in that position at work anyway, to be questioning and grilling people. It's, you know, we're
Not
not,
now. Not
no,
now. We
maybe
saw a lot of little Hitlerism last year.
oh,
A lot of shop workers suddenly decided that they were going to save, you know, be saviors to the world, and, you know, be totally dicks to everybody in at the same time. And we know from the Stanford prison experiment, people do enjoy a little bit of power and sadism and all the rest of it. And we can see, obviously, with the police in Australia and various other things. I mean, you know, we should know the flaws in human behaviour. You know what I mean? Once you've been around for a few decades. But it's when the state and the apparatus of the state and the corporate media and everything else, the information message gives people permission to, and now it's, you know, the unvaccinated are filthy, and, you know, you're going to catch AIDS from them, and, you know, who knows where it's going to go if we let them continue. You know, it does need to be stamped out. And the way we stamp it out is by speaking up and you know, standing up and speaking out and not letting it ride and saying this isn't okay. And again, in whatever way people want to do that. Yes, do it with the light paper. Yes, do it with, I mean, I think local outreach is the best thing you can possibly do. Go into your local town centre, you know, standing there with it, being just a few of you, nice and happy, all smiling, all the rest of it. Hand out your leaflets, hand out light papers, get chatting to some people, grow the group. You know what I mean? You're always going to find new members and what have you. Give them a lot of people make cards, make little business cards for standing in the park. So it's great fun, and you also get a real mood of the nation, not from opinion polls, not even from online, because obviously it looks really great when you're online as well, and you post something and everybody agrees with you and they all share it and everything else. But you get a real mood of the country once you know spend a couple of hours in your local town centre or a local town centre. You know, one afternoon. It's definitely worth doing. I think it's the number one way of waking people up. I suppose if you put 100 light papers in 100 doors, it's gonna, you know, 5 or 6 of them are gonna find their target, I suppose. And you're right. The number of people that have said to me, you know, thank you so much, because, you know, my wife or my husband or my partner or my dad or whoever it is, you know, they read the information because, like you say, it looks professional. It's got that. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not trying to mislead anybody. We're reporting what we believe is the God's honest truth, to the best of our ability. But it is counter propaganda at the end of the day. You know, it is telling the opposite side of the message, that people shouldn't be afraid, and they should be afraid of the shots, but they shouldn't be afraid of the disease that they're going on about on the telly all the time. In fact, switch your telly off, throw it out the window, and just read the light paper every month, and go to your stand in the park every week, and go to Rebel Roundabout.
Trust. I'm gonna say the door.
Okay.
People trust in print still. There's something about a newspaper. A lot of people are kind of, oh, the internet. If you say to them, look, it's all online, you can research the stuff, people are still, you know, the ones that are kind of wavering or a bit suspicious, or like the people you mentioned earlier who, you know, they say they've looked into stuff and they've written it off. They seem to be more convinced by having, you know, articles there. They're written by, you know, professors and scientists and doctors. You know, these aren't just hacks that are just, you know, writing out any old
Yeah,
nonsense. These are, you know, well
they're well,
respected.
highly credentialed. In fact,
Exactly.
the next front page of the Light is going to be specifically that. It's going to have oh, I've forgotten all the names now, but it's going to have three top scientists who are obviously censored. Well, they're censored or they're not given very much airtime or coverage, against Piers Morgan, Lewis Hamilton, and Dolly Parton,
Yeah.
who clearly don't have a medical degree between them, but yet are allowed to give the public unlimited advice and airtime on, yeah, take the vaccine, you know, don't be a clot, take the shot, etc., etc. I can't remember what Dolly Parton's phrase is. I've got to look it up. But again, you know what I mean? Just try and make it obvious to people that, you know, is this following the science? You know, quite clearly, no, it's not. We need to reflect. You know, I mean, I suppose artists do that, but all activists can do that. All truths can do that. We need to reflect the world as it is. You know, so. You know, although we'll get slagged off for comparing this with the Nazis, you know, or the yellow stars with the discrimination, etc., or apartheid, it's fucking true. It's accurate. So we should keep using. But again, in a gentle, you know, in as gentle a way as we possibly can. But the truth is the truth. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to be excluded. It's going to be a tyranny. It's going to be a digital slavery, and there will be no arguing with the AI or the drones or the Robocop where you've got 20 seconds to comply. You go back to your pod, yeah, etc., etc. We need to show people exactly what's coming down the road, and I suppose coming back full circle to the song, I suppose in 2013 when I wrote it, I tried. I mean, obviously, I've I've added lots of verses since then, but the idea was to include a lot of you know, a lot of the full spectrum dominance, a lot of the range of dominance that they've got over us. You know, whether it's food. Well, I can't remember the song now. What's the lyrics? The corporation. I put the central bank in the end. Vaccines, obviously. You know, the vaccines were always poisonous even back then. This is before the, you know, obviously everything they've come out with there. So, like I say, let's look ahead. Let's prepare people, show them where it's going. You know, we can argue all day over the current points of you know, the pandemic and the shots and the this and that and the other, and so we should. Like I said, we need to reflect footballers dropping dead and everything else. You know what I mean? This is going on and what have you. And we certainly weren't doing it last year, so it's not because of COVID. But at the same time, let's show people what's coming. Let's show people what electric vehicle, why is electric vehicles, why smart meters, smart motorways, why the health pass, why you know, why is all this stuff being set up, why central bank digital currency and blockchain and Bitcoin and all the rest of it. It's all pointing one way, and it's the artificialization, I suppose, of life and us, and obviously ultimately the control. And I don't. At the end of the day, if they put their system in, which I don't believe they will actually succeed in, but if they did, they don't care, because people say, well, do they want those who'll take the vaccine, those who'll comply? They don't want us. I mean, they probably don't want us, but I don't think it matters, because you're not going to be able to do anything without going along with it in the future. You know what I mean? So whoever you are, you know what I mean, whether you've taken every vaccine going if you're still alive, or whether it's me, you know, at the end of the day, once they get rid of cash and they've got the central bank digital currency and, you know, the social credit score and everything else, it doesn't matter. You go along with it or you don't eat. I mean, you don't pay rent or you don't what have you. You become literally a non-person. I've no idea, you know, without having your own estate where you can grow food or your own little community. You know, so you know, I don't want it to get there. We should build up our networks anyway to starve their system anyway. Let's build our own economy, if you like. I want to spend money. If I'm going to the pub, I want to spend money, you know, at a pub, but that's awake. That will stay awake through lockdown. That won't have masks and social credit, social ID, and health passes. I want to listen to musicians that are talking the truth, that are truthful, that are honest, that are, you know, what have you. I want to buy my food from local farmers. Well, you know, etc., etc. We can all make those decisions for ourselves. But again, you know, if everybody does it, fine, we're going to win. If they don't, that's the way it goes. I can't fault everybody, because the highest principle, the highest philosophy or philosophical ideal is individual freedom. You should have the right to choose your life for yourself. And if we as a movement go, okay, yeah, but everyone's got to do this. Don't care if you don't want to do it, it's got, you know what I mean? Yeah, let's try persuasion if it really is a good idea. But again, we do it by inspiration, not by force. You know what I mean? Nobody forced anybody to start, you know, to start distributing the light paper or contribute it to it or what have you. It was just a good idea. It's the right thing, the right time. It may be around in a year, still 3 years or 5 years time. I don't know. We'll go for as long as people want to do it. And once it ends, we'll do something else. But you think once it ends, probably there's no need for it anymore, because you know, most journalists are now actually talking the truth, or at least, you know, they're printing the truth. I want competition, you know.
Yeah, it'd be a
You
good
know.
thing, wouldn't it? If yeah, the more people actually speaking out, speaking the truth.
Yeah.
I do feel like there's a shift. It's the funny kind of time, because it's very heavy, isn't it? You know, you can feel this collective tension, and you're waiting for the axe to bloody fall the whole time. But at the same time, it's like that those conditions are creating the further conditions where people are, it's like you've got to break free of the shackles. People can feel it's tightening and tightening, and it just goes against the human spirit, doesn't it? It just, whether people are spiritually minded or, you know, got any kind of conscious thought about this stuff, it's just something in human beings, that desire for freedom. It's what we essentially are, these creator beings that, you know, we've got everything that we could ever need, ever want, for the most incredible lives for everyone. We're in an endlessly abundant universe, whatever you want to call it. And of course, they don't want people to know that. It's the constant fear and the fact that they need to be working on it flat out 24/7 to try and keep us down. And it's still not working. It just shows you, doesn't it, what we're actually made of.
Yeah, the power of the human spirit. I just thought that of this lie about infinite growth on a finite planet. And that's such a lie that it's a fact. I mean, I'm you know,
Yeah.
I am one of those that knows it's not a planet, which means a wandering star, but you know, we call it terra firma, but whatever, it doesn't matter, because grass grows every year. You know, everything's cycle. You know what I mean? Chickens have children. You know what I mean? Everything regrows. Trees grow. They, you know, forests multiply, etc., etc. It's actually the same for oil underneath the earth, although it takes a couple of 100 years. But it's a natural biological product. It's not a fossil fuel. Again, another big lie that people tell you. So, I mean, it's understanding that those concepts, all our perceptions and beliefs about the world are either true or false. And if they come from the rulers via mainstream educational media, it's likely that it does need re-examining. And you know, it's probably the best thing you can do. You know what I mean? Rip it all, or every single bit of it, right from are we on a spinning ball in a vast universe, as it comes down to it. But certainly answer those questions. You know, who am I? Why am I doing here? Is there a purpose to my life? What am I supposed to be doing? Is there life after death? You know, is there a God? Is there a real are there? Is there a, you know, these questions can now be answered. I don't know. It's like you've got extra insight, and you really can detect. You've got to look. It can't be. It's not an instant thing. You've got to test things out and weigh it up and all the rest of it. And it's, for me, it's always a weight of evidence whether something's true or not. You know, when you see success, when you see growth, when you see people moving forward in their lives and together, and movements growing and what have you, you know, whatever it is we're doing it right. You know, and you see it go backwards when you're not doing it right. So it's being adjusted to that as well. You know, I think we're going to win. It's as simple as that. But we can't just sit back and go, well, yeah, okay, fine, yeah, we're going to win. So we'll just wait for it to all collapse by itself. Not going to happen. We have to put in as much effort as we possibly can, because it's the right thing to do. It's kind of the opposite of the ends justify the means. We do the right thing, even if we do lose. you know, and we do end up in gulags and all the rest of it, and dead and whatever they do, then at least we fought the fight and we did the right thing no matter what. Because like I say, it's the right thing to do. It doesn't really matter. It's the opposite of their collectivist communist. Doesn't matter what, you know, the means. Doesn't matter if you break a few eggs. It's all about the omelette. Well, actually, it's not. It really is about being righteous, I suppose, but doing the right thing, being in service to others, and trying to make the world a better place, but without namby-pamby. You know, there are simple, solid things we can do, and simple, solid attitudes that we can have as we go about our business that will, you know, enhance the world. You know, be the change you want to see. Cliche as it is, it really does. It really is the answer, I suppose.
It really is. Well, I think that's the perfect point to end on, actually. I think you've just summed it up perfectly. So it's been lovely to finally chat, because we were trying for a few weeks, weren't we? And the dates were kept, and then I was ill, but we finally managed it. So will you be there on Saturday at the protest?
I'm not sure at this stage, because we've got the full day on Sunday.
Yeah.
To prepare for, and we're doing obviously the record, and you know, obviously I'm getting the next issue of the light paper together, and obviously got family life as well. So you might see me, you might not, but what I loved about the advert I saw for it is no big names, no logos, just everybody together fighting for freedom. So it's always nice to for everybody comes up to me and sings the song, which is fantastic, or wants to talk to me about flat earth or what have you. And I like chatting to people, so you know, it's a shame. I don't think I'll be there, but I know it's going to be a really, really big one. I hope that you know, people are watching out for the agitprops, watching out for those that are sent in to cause trouble with police, so that the Daily Mail have their story the next day, etc., etc. And they were smart. You know, the movement's got very, very smart. It's kind of, like you say, it's growing, getting more professional people all the time, and we're getting better. You know, realizing that we are in a war, and realizing that our enemy will play dirty, to make us look, you know, the opposite of what we actually are. You know, they're the insane ones. Never forget it. We're right. Always stay peaceful. Always stay funny. Always sing, and always do the right thing. And we won't go wrong. You know, like I say, win or lose, you do the right thing anyway. You know, and your head is held high. But it was great speaking to you. I say, encourage everybody to keep downloading the track, keep sharing it everywhere. Let's really ramp it up on Friday. For Christmas #1, you know, we might make it, we might not. It's a lot of fun having a go anyway.
Yeah, excellent. Well, yeah, keep up good work. Hope to see you in person soon. And yeah, take care.
You will. Thanks very much. Good night.